Starting now. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 27th episode of Tales of Tamriel. I want to thank everyone for joining us again for this live episode. I am your host, Aggelos, he who is frantically trying to put together a spreadsheet of all the new gear changes so I can figure out exactly what I'm going to make at VR12. Also with me this afternoon, she who will wait until I've finished said list and then steal it. Face, how are you doing today, my dear?
I am pretty good. It is a nice, breezy, rainy day, so I'm kind of enjoying it. How about you?
I do like the rain, I really do, but our gutters need cleaned out because that's why they're leaking into our basement.
Oh, okay. That explains a lot.
Yeah, that needs fixed. Okay, also with us this evening, the man who's running our stream and he who has already theory-crafted all the gear, which is best, and wondering why I'm wasting all the time with this list instead of just asking him, Deltia of Deltia's Gaming. How are you doing today, good sir?
You can now just call me Mr. Best in Slot. Ha, joking. Hey, doing good. I'm glad to be back on. Hopefully I don't die. And for all of you out there playing the Tales of Tamriel drinking game, anytime King Foltest dies, you have to take a drink of something. I don't drink alcohol, so I'm going to be drinking Rockstar instead. But that's the fun. So, thanks. Law.
Ooh, I love Rockstar. It's one of my favorite energy drinks.
Oh, it's the best. Blue.
Indeed. Well, we'll be calling out every time that King Foltest dies, which, by the way, he does die. Spoiler for anyone who's not played Witcher 2.
Oh, don't! I'm getting low. Got a pot. Okay. I made it. Sorry.
So close. So close to having to take a drink already. All right. Well, with that little bit of fun we're going to have during the episode, we're also going to go into our game news. So, first off, on the game news this week, the European Megaserver Migration has taken place. It was scheduled to take place on July 30th, and I guess they're going to have like 10 hours of downtime, but it came up actually fairly early. I don't know of anyone who's actually playing over there. I know we have someone in the chat room who actually plays on the European servers. Hopefully he'll maybe weigh in for us a little bit. But Astelden, if I pronounced it right. Remember, a little bit low on the ass part. Remember, Astelden. How is the lag on the EU Mega server? Have you noticed any change, any difference? I know you're in the chat room, so when you hear this 30 seconds from now, just let us know. Otherwise, I guess everything went all well because they got done ahead of schedule, and it seems like everything's up and running. I've not heard anyone complain or scream end of the world or the game's going free to play because they lost their characters, so I guess it all went well. Base, what do you think?
I don't really have anything to say about that. I guess it's pretty cool that the Europeans now have their own European mega server. Everything should run much smoother for them.
Well, according to Stelden, it's actually worse. They have a few issues involving random freezes. Oh my. Is that I'm actually kind of curious. Is that a documented change? Like is it you, or is it a common thing on the EU side of forums? I'm kind of interested. With that being said, Deltia, the change kind of went quickly. I mean, did you hear anything from any of the EU guys about the move?
No, I mean, all the European people that I play with play over here anyways, so I don't know of anything, honestly.
Yeah, right. Well, even Matt Firer, when they did the interview about moving it, they pretty much said we have a lot of faith in our code, and people shouldn't notice hardly any difference at all. So it's just kind of nice to have it in that area now. But yeah, so. No deaths yet?
Nope.
No deaths yet. All right, no drinking yet. All right. So that is the EU Mega server change. Not a lot there, but I know the EU guys have been waiting on that for a while, and I'm glad that actually kind of went down without too much of a hitch. And let's move on to the next thing. Next up there was a Reddit AMA with the ESO Art Team. Sadly, I didn't get a chance to read all of it. Deltia, did you get a chance to read it?
I have not, no.
Okay. Yeah, I actually completely forgot that it was going on. But I have a feeling that this is going to be very a niche kind of AMA. If you're very artsy and into the art of things, it would be kind of neat to get into their head. But similar to like the when they did the Sound Team AMA, it was all very technical and related to what their field was, and not anything like mind-blowingly new was ever released in that one. Like, oh yeah, we're doing a whole new soundtrack with X person. None of that ever showed up. It was just this was our thought process behind it. So if you are the artistic type and want to go check it out, it is on Reddit, and I will actually post a link here in the chat room for people. Anyone who's listening to this in podcast land will just have to search it. All right, moving on to the next bit of news, and again, more swag coming out of Bethesda's store, limited edition Molag Bal Metal Print. Yeah. The God of Schemes commands you to welcome him into your home. There's only 100 available. So apparently they've released a whole new metal, I guess the metal prints are available. 18-inch by 24 metal print of the God of Schemes.
About got it. I about ordered it. It was in my.
Did you order
it was in my cart. I about did.
Oh
yeah.
I was gonna say. Oh my! I love the physical swag, and I wish I had the money for it, but it's $275.
Yeah, 300 with shipping.
300 with shipping.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely like the swag. I really do, but that's up there. That's up there in price.
Yes, it is.
It's definitely not a cheap thing to actually get. But yeah. So if you actually happen to have some extra $300 laying around, you can go ahead and get one of these metal prints. Stace, what do you think about it?
Oh, I definitely want it for our up and coming gaming loft. I think that needs to be in that room.
Again, I wish I had $300 laying around, and I probably would get it. It does look really sick. It really does.
I'm not good at math, so in my head I'm trying to picture how large it would be. But in my head it's like this big, and I know that's a little bigger than what it probably is.
Just 1.5 feet by 2 feet.
Oh, thank you. Because that means a lot in my head.
Okay. Also, please note, I'm sad to say this for any of our EU fans out there, it is only available in the US and Canada. So if you do have extra money and you're in the EU, you can donate it to us. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. Or you have a US friend who's willing to ship it to you if you ship it to their house. So, yeah, don't put me on that list because I may just keep it and say it got lost in shipping. All right. Next up, this should actually benefit our EU friends out there. ESO is coming to Gamescon on August 14th through the 17th. It's Gamescon is Europe's largest gaming convention, and they're going to be at the same booth they were last year, which is A031 in Hall 9.1. So stop by and say hi and meet their community team and play some PvP. I guess they're going to have that PvP setup they had before, the 3v3v3. So hopefully we get that in the official game sometime soon. Anyone have anything to say about the Gamescon?
Well, well, go ahead.
Go ahead, Deltia.
No, you.
Oh, me? So
You first.
I am so sad that all these different types of conventions go on, and I've actually never been to one. And I really, really want to go.
Well, that being said, most of the big ones, the one you could probably get into, PAX East is in Boston. That's like 3 hours from us.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about the only one. PAX Prime is, where's PAX Prime? Cali somewhere?
No idea. I live in Nebraska and nothing's ever here.
Nothing is ever in Nebraska.
Who lives in Nebraska?
My wife. That's why I'm here. Yeah. So, about the Gamescom thing, that's cool they're going to stuff. I mean, other games, they start fizzling out and stop going to stuff. I thought QuakeCon was fantastic, as did we all. But, yeah, I'm glad they're still reaching out and doing the fans. You know, Star Wars Old Republic has the Cantina tour thing, which I think would be kind of cool if they had it in this, but they're also making it around. So I'm excited to see them, you know, out in the community.
Oh yeah, like these guys are insanely active. Like you said, most of the big game companies are active right around maybe like a year before their game launches, and then they don't show up anywhere anymore,
Right.
except for maybe when an expansion's coming out. These guys are still actively going out and doing fan stuff like Reddit AMA post, and they are just an insanely active development team. It is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, well, with Gamescon happening, if you're going, you should contact me, and I can give you a list of questions that we want answered. That'd be great. So send me a message. I'm sure Deltia is the same way. If you're going, contact us both. We will give you a list of things to harass the community team about. I know we will. Okay, and we'll move on to the next bit. What's going on tomorrow, Thais?
Oh, the patch that we're not going to be able to play for a week or so because we play on DSL and downloading is kind of a pain. That?
All right, Deltia, what's going on?
A little update, I think.
A little update.
Little?
I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of a positive reaction. I picked the wrong person for that.
Oh, yeah. I'm a little bitter because it's going to take forever to download.
Yeah, it will. So, Update 3 is going live during Monday's maintenance, August 4th. That is tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you're listening to this podcast in podcast land, it is probably live like right now. Or actually, I should take that back. If you're downloading the podcast when I upload it, the servers just went down and they're applying the patch as we speak. So, Update 3, ladies and gentlemen, Guild Extravaganza. Some awesome things going to happen here. First off, I know, let's talk a little bit about this. One of the biggest things that we all kind of were ranting about. Go ahead. You say it.
No, I don't know what you were going to say. All I was thinking that was the die system.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the die system. I'm about to become a vampire tonight, so I can work my way towards that achievement for the die, and then I'm going to probably start fishing, because there's a pink die that I need to get my hands on, so I can be Twit Queen Thais, the Pink Ranger.
I'm very upset, Zos, that you did not take my petition to move all pink dies to Spider Killer achievements. Because that's what really should have happened.
I'm quite happy that didn't happen, because I'd never have a pink die.
That's the point. And Deltia, die system.
Black and yellow, black and yellow. That's what I am in every game. You'll see me coming and get out of the way. And yes, I'm a vampire too. Because really, that's the only way you can play Elder Scrolls and never die.
As a vampire?
Yep. Just dodge fire and you're alive.
Dodge fire. Do not light any candles
Yeah.
or you may die.
You will not smoke if you're a vampire, but yeah. No, this patch is going to be awesome. Guild Tabard. I mean, it's like they're making it so your character feels unique, and that's what everyone wants in an MMO. Not everyone else has ancient elf armor. Well, who cares? Now, once you get some more of these customization things, everyone's going to look different and unique. Whether it's pink, crazy, nut looking, or you got black and yellow, like Wiz Khalifa look, or whatever. It's going to be awesome.
Indeed, and I know when we first saw the die system, the first thing that Thais and I mentioned was, oh my goodness, this is almost like a carbon copy cut of Guild Wars 2's die system. Anyone who's played Guild Wars 2 would agree with this, and for the first time ever, that is not a negative. Normally it's like, oh, that's a copy-paste of this. That's one thing Guild Wars 2 did so right, was actually the die system. When I saw this, I was squealing like a little girl, and it was pretty awesome. It was really, really cool to actually see all these different dies, and I actually like the fact that they are tied to achievements, because I'm already an achievement whore.
Love it.
And I'm just gonna. That's gonna be something else. Not even the custom, being able to customize my character. It's gonna give me something else to do, because now if I log in and I'm not really sure what I want to do, I'm pulling up my achievement list and go, all right, let's do some achievement hunting. What don't I have yet? Not that I don't do that anyway, but now there will even be more of an incentive to do that. And with that incentive comes people who may not be such an achievement whore will actually be out there doing the achievements as well. So you'll be able to get help more readily if it's a harder achievement. So that's exciting. So die system is coming, as well as guild tabards. So now guilds will be able to design tabards that their characters will be able to purchase in some way. And yeah, those look really neat. I know those the last game that I played that actually had tabards that were customizable in a way was Dark Age of Camelot. I know Warcraft had tabards, but they were all pre-designed that you could collect. And what was the other game? Final Fantasy XIV doesn't have tabards, but you could design guild symbols that were painted on your armor and shields, which is really neat. But I'm really excited to actually see this. I know shields aren't coming this patch, so I hope they add that in where you're able to paint your symbol on like a shield if you have it.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. I'm not fond of dyeable weapons, and thankfully, even when they talked about dyeable weapons, the guy was like, yeah, no, we're probably not going to do that.
You want pink Thais weapons or something?
Pink Thais weapons, exactly. He's like, no, we don't, he liked the idea of the shields, because, you know, you could paint your shields. He liked that idea, but he's like, yeah, no, probably not going to do dyeable weapons. And you know what? I'm actually fine with that, because it would drive me nuts to see some guy running around with his pink sword hanging out. That's right.
Okay.
I would love a pair of pink daggers and a pink staff.
A pink staff. Yeah, no.
That'd be amazing.
Could you imagine the troll names that would come out because of walking around with a pink staff?
There's already all kinds of troll names.
There would even be more.
Hi.
All right. And along with this, there's some changes to the guild system as a whole, which some people who are doing the guild leader thing, guild officer thing will be happy about, because they're adding multiple ranks that you'll be able to add, edit, and all that fun stuff. Assign symbols to. And they're adding a little bit of permissions to the guild bank. Unfortunately, they haven't done any permissions with items, but they're allowing you to add gold to the guild bank now and being able to assign withdrawal limits based on rank. Deltia, what do you think about that?
That's good. I mean, they're like we were talking before the show. Come on, guild calendars. Hello. We need something to organize events. I think there's outside systems for that, but why games don't have a guild calendar system, I don't know. I want that in the game. Other than that, guild tabard's awesome. I mean, I could see 10 people, like, we got a little small 4-man team here, roaming Cyrodiil getting sky shards, but how cool would it be to see, like, black and yellow guild, the snake or whatever, coming at you in Cyrodiil? Wouldn't that be sick? That's going to be fun.
Oh, I definitely agree, and unfortunately there is no
there's a snake.
guild calendar.
Oh.
No, guild calendar. No, the snake you have. There's like 2 snakes.
Oh, yeah. You know I'm rocking a snake.
I pointed out the one for you. It's the gloved, the gold fist up in the air and the snake scrolling around it.
Yep.
Like, that's Deltia.
That's me. Yep, that's my guild.
That's it. All right, and the last thing, which is, I don't know if it's still controversial. I haven't heard a lot about it, but the guild kiosks are coming into play. I think it's too early to really mention about this, but there's, 120 some locations in each faction that you'll be able to get. Now, with that being said, I'm assuming that 120 in each faction is everyone will be able to use it. Like, I could go into the Aldmari Dominion zones and be able to purchase that area, but I guess that would be kind of hard because only the veteran rank people who have unlocked that zone would be able to actually view that guild store. So I have a feeling if you're able to buy locations in all 3 factions once you've unlocked them, the primary factions will probably be the hottest selling because everyone in your faction has constant access to those at all times. Particularly Davin's Watch, Daggerfall, and Vocal Guard will probably be the biggest ones because everyone's right there. And, you know, you can park your alt there and sell and buy and all that stuff. But guild stores are coming out, and they're going to use a blind bidding system that will allow you to purchase one of these on a weekly basis. And once you own it for a week, your guild store will be available to be viewed by anyone who goes up to this kiosk and looks through it. Now, I guess with that being said, if a guild kiosk does not actually sell, they're going to have a flat price on it that the first person, it's first come, first serve, that comes up to the guild kiosk and buys it, they get it for the remaining time left on it. So if you notice on, I don't know, let's just say it resets on Monday. If on Thursday you notice that, oh, this one hasn't been bought, they'll have a flat fee going, okay, starting Monday, this would be 1,000 gold, and they prorate it based on what time it is that you buy it. Now, you don't get it for a week, you get it till the next reset, but I have a feeling that every day they pick to do the bidding, there's going to be people running around to all the different spots to see if someone did not bid on one of these locations so they can get it cheaper. So that's kind of exciting. Thais, what do you think about the guild kiosk system?
I think it's really going to flesh out what guilds are active and what guilds aren't. Because when we first started, we were in guilds that were really active, and now even our trading guilds are kind of dwindling, and the more we play, the more we see new ones popping up saying, hey, we're active, come join us instead. So I do think this is a good idea, since there isn't a worldwide auction house. It's going to be a good way to try and sell your wares to see which guilds are in fact the most active, and to be able to be a part of making more money. Because I don't know about you, but I have hardly any money because I can't ever sell anything. So I think this is a good idea.
Right. Deltia, what are your feelings on the guild kiosk?
I think it's a pretty interesting idea. I mean, if you give people an incentive to band together to accomplish something, i.e. a team, then there's reasons to do stuff, whether it's wearing a tabard, buying a guild kiosk, etc., etc. So what I'm trying to say is any more reason for people to band together and do stuff, the better. And this is just another one. I like how the marketplace isn't a global auction house where you can get everything. Well, you can get tempering allies now, but it's not easy. You have to sit around and talk. You can get, the lore books and everything else. I mean, the Daedric motifs, but it's not exactly easy. So it's interesting, but it's going to create a market where big, huge, dominant guilds will be dominant. So there's ups and downs to it. I like it personally. So just making guilds more unique. It's fun, just like our little guild. Mine's hard contact and small and everything, but I'm done with the days of guilds coming and going and coming and going, and that's kind of the PvP mentality, that they always come and reform, and I'm like, why does everyone do that? I want to stick in a guild and just do it for fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of guilds, it's funny how a bunch of guilds will come together and will just up and disappear within, I can't even tell you when the game first launched, when we first started getting into it, consider doing the podcast, how many guilds were popping up, the pre-launch guilds who maybe not even never made it into the game or made it a week or two and then just completely up and disappeared. I know we joined a guild that was supposed to focus on endgame content. Like the first week it was out, they were heavy recruiting. We joined them up, and we just left them a little while ago just because I started clearing out what guilds we were currently part of. And I looked, and other than Thais and myself and one other person, now this had about 100 people in it, 3 people were active within the past 2 days, and that was us and this one other guy. Everyone else was 2 or 3 months or greater since they last logged on. And it's just like, wow, the amount of, this guild, essentially, the guild leader hadn't been on since the day they recruited us. I took note of that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. He recruited us, logged off, and never logged back on again. It was just crazy. And I know that happened with a couple of our trade guilds that we had joined, because we're part of the Friends and Family Guild. We're also part of another the Dragonguard, which is a my goodness, I am getting all tongue-tied today. It's our PvE related guild for trials and PvE content. I'm part of Hard Contact, but I didn't get a t-shirt, even though I retweeted.
Oh my god.
But the other guilds we're in were trading guilds, and the one guild is fairly active, but I checked this other one, and there's no one in it anymore. they are a maxed out guild with like 500 people in it, or whatever the max is now. I almost forget. I think it's 512. And out of those 512, there's 30 people active. No one else has been on in 2 months or greater. I'm like, my goodness, you got to cleaning this stuff up.
Can I say one thing to Theis's comment about the meathead PvP stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Now from the outside looking in, where I'm just kind of dinking around and not taking anything seriously too much, I can really see that attitude where they keep forming and reforming based on they think everyone else sucks and they're the best. And so my friend, who I've played games with 3 years now, he's been doing PvP hardcore. And so I went out with him a week ago. I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. And he joined his guild or whatever. And then he's like, hey, you want to join my new guild? I'm like, well, what happened to your old guild? They're like, oh, they all broke up and disbanded and formed a new guild. I'm like, oh my God. It's always drama with it. I'm like, I'm done with the whole drama. You're better than me. I'm better than you thing. Like, can't we just have a group of friends that likes to play the damn game? Sorry, rant.
When it comes to PvP, you can't. That's
You can't.
not how it works.
I know
with
it's
the
not.
PvP meatheads. Oh, I'm so glad you understand that.
I'm not even going to say PvP meatheads. I'm going to say this. Do you know how many high-end raiding guilds have broken up and rejoined, like, just because of a spat over something like a loot drop or whatever the case may be? Like, I've been part of a guild that essentially it's the same core group of members who would join a guild together, they would raid, then there would be some sort of drama. They would all leave and then reform another one.
Yep.
It happened like 3 or 4 times. It's the same, like 5 or 6 people where we start adding new people in to continue raiding, but then something happens, people split, and then those same 5 people then just leave and reform again. It happens in almost every... Anytime you're doing anything that's would be termed, progressive, like you're going over progression for PvP or...
Competitive, yeah.
Yeah, competitive stuff. The drama follows. When the drama follows, that's where you get all those split-offs. You really do. Well, all right. Well, anyone have anything else that they're excited about for Update 3?
Oh my God. Oh, the new gear sets, dude. Oh my God. I'm going to have what?
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because not 20 minutes ago in the pre-show we were talking about that.
Oh man, I crafted all my stuff prior to looking at some of the sites that had all the stuff, the print screens of them. So I'm gonna have like all my stuff already purple, and then I'm gonna make it legendary once the patch drops, and I know that the sets actually hit with what the stats they said. So I'm pumped about those changes.
You know, I'm actually really excited. Let's talk about this for a little bit, because as a theory crafter and number cruncher, both of us, this will be a fun conversation. For anyone who has not noticed,
what's so funny?
I'll just sit here and because
the math hurts.
Yes, the math hurts.
She's gonna sit over there in the corner, curled up in the fetal position, sucking her thumb. That's what's gonna happen.
Is that any different than normal? Oh, burn!
Just wait until I'm the Pink Ranger. I'm gonna find you in Cyrodiil, and you're gonna be dead.
Alright.
Okay.
Sorcerer Vampire.
Dragon Knight Vampire.
Not a vampire. I am a vampire now, but that's for an achievement. Anyway. Gear sets. For those who don't actually know, the gear sets as you know and love are going away, and they are actually being revamped from the ground up. A lot of the earlier crafted sets and even some of the other sets that were found throughout the world, if they were low level or low trait, had small set bonuses. They might have had 2 or 3 or whatever the case may be. And if you had like 2, you got a little bit of a stat boost. And then after you had 3 or 4, you'd be able to get the full 5 set bonus. Well, that is going away. Before you used to be able to, I know what was popular. I am just tongue-tied today like crazy. What was popular was a 3-3-3 split or a 5-3 split, where you either had, if you were dual wielding, you could have 3 item sets that you went up to the 3rd trait. And then the other set was you could have a 5-set trait and a 3-set trait. Well, now almost every single thing is going away and having a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 item set stat bonus. So you'll be able to mix and match from there. Now, with that being said, I'm going to pull one of these up here as a truck goes by. One of the things that I have is, for instance, we'll just talk about Death's Wind. Death's Wind originally was I think there was a 5-set bonus, but there wasn't. Actually, it might have been a 3-set bonus. But it was if you're struck with a melee attack while below 35% health, nearby enemies are knocked back and stunned for 4 seconds. This effect can only happen once every 30 seconds. Now, what they actually did with this is they broke it down and added so that you could have... Well, they just made the sets even better. Now they're adding it that when you have two of the Death's Wind set, you gain an additional 157 armor. With 3, you get 118 max health. With 4, you get an additional 118 max health. And then with 5 is when you get that special bonus.
Can I jump in here?
Absolutely.
Basically, they made it a lot more customizable. Is really the end game, and so there's huge incentive to go 5, less incentive to go 4, even further as it goes down. But you can use 2, 2, 2, 2. You can use 5, 3. I mean, there's so the combinations of what people are going to be running, including skills, including armor, just a lot more customization again, both visually and your character. So that's really, they should call it customization patch, if anything else.
Oh, definitely. And here's the thing you can even weigh as a person when you're making your gear sets. It's like, do you really like that special bonus? Because what they've done is they moved that special bonus to needing 5, and almost everything requires 5 to get that special bonus. But you can really customize your character now going, do I really want that special bonus, or would I rather just have always active passives to boost up my skills? I know I myself am probably going to go... unless I get some hard numbers, probably going to go full passives and rely on my character abilities.
Yep.
Deltia, what about you? Since you've already made your entire set, can you tell us a little bit about that? What you're aiming for?
Well, I have 3 sets: a PvP, a DPS, and a tank set. So I have 3 sets fully done. And then basically my tank set, they were originally going to change his spark. But they changed it back to 18% dodge chance, which is by far the best tank set you can get. So I'm going back to his spark, and then I'm going to do 2-piece from 2 different sets to get max health, so I can be at almost the hard cap for health. And then on my DPS, I'm going 4 and 4. 4 Hunting's Rage, 4 Night Mothers. That gives me 16% crit chance. Just by default. So I think I'll be able to get roughly 70% weapon crit chance using these abilities that I have on my Dragon Knight. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be nasty. 70%. I mean, I'm using my Bat Swarms. I've taken down 30 mobs in Kraglorn at once, just being a Dragon Knight. I'm not even joking. Yeah.
How many have you taken down on your Templar?
Okay, that's another rant, but don't play Templars. don't play Templars. Really, if you are, it's bad.
I play Templar, good sir, and I love my Templar.
Oh, hold on. Oh.
Hey, as I said to you in the pre-show, at least I don't have to fear the nerf bat. We're so far down, the only way to go is up. Everything they change on us is obviously a buff.
Oh, Ark says, Dell explains his sets in details like, this one looks cool. Well, that's about right. I like playing dress up in my games, and let me tell you, this one, right, These?
She had to step away.
Oh, of course. Well, but yeah, dress up in games are important. I mean, if I'm going to spend $500 in a damn game, I want my character to look cool, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. So, yep.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know what I'm working on now is like I said, a little spreadsheet that I'll be able to do some formulas on, so I can actually figure out, like, I would hate if I made the set and then realized, oh crap, I just hit soft cap on all this different stuff, and I could have switched the stats around. So I'm working on a way I can figure out all the math for, because I don't want to go too much into the soft cap, or else I'll start losing points. Yeah,
a suggestion with that is basically you can do a couple things with Munda Stones and whatnot. And what I did is I bought white. Just cheap gems from traders and in Kraglorn or in whatever last city you're in. And that can kind of give you a rough estimate before you use Kudas to upgrade your glyphs and try to hit the hard cap, soft cap, and everything. But Yeah, it's going to take some time to get all your passives straight, and then because those boost up your weapon damage and crit and melee, and then also you want to factor in if you have buffs going at once. Like I have green Dragon's Blood up, so my stamina recovery is boosted by 40%. So really, I want my stamina to be basically below that, so that way I'm always having Dragon's Blood up. So just some things to think about might help.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I love about theory crafting, getting all this stuff together. Is it does take a little bit of tinkering with to make sure you figure yourself out and where all you're gonna go. Okay. Anything else you would like to hit on for update 3 before we move on?
No. Add some arenas, please, soon. Add small content PvP, please, soon. Now, please. Okay, next. Done.
Right. I definitely think they need to add some sort of arena or smaller scale PvP in here in order to, hold on to a PvP crowd. As much as I love the Cyrodiil experience and I think it's really awesome.
It's not PvP.
Yeah, it's open world, but yeah, it's not competitive in that way. Not the way that most of the competitive area says they like to go. I think we'll get a lot. I think we'll get a lot more PvP interest when Justice System comes out, because you will be able then to hunt down the the murderous thieves. So there will be a form of open world PvP even within your own faction. And I'm really excited to see the Imperial City dungeon, because that'll be a lot of fun as well. All right, so update 3 going live tomorrow, Monday, August 4th. Make sure you patch up, and we'll see you there. All right, the next bit of news is another one of their community programs. It's another Loremaster archive. And how you pronounce that?
I would say Zakhin's.
Zakhin's, Many Heroes. Okay. So today we reach into the archives to explore Hammerfell's Red Guards, the unveiled... Oh, dear heaven above.
Azadia.
Thank you. You know what? I'm just going to let you read that. Go ahead.
Today we reach into the archives to explore Hammerfell's Red Guards. The unveiled Azadia is a noted historian and scholar of the Crown Red Guards, traditionalists who staunchly preserve their Yokudan roots. Was that correct? I know you know that word. Yokudan, okay.
That one I do.
She answers your questions and presents 2 new lore books. Let's see, okay, the Zakhin's Many Heroes by the unveiled Azadia. I'm going to need you to say that for me one more time. Yokudan? Yokudan.
There you go.
On Morndus, young Zakhin hastened home after the scorching sands from his drills, the bright flame of legends driving his steps, and proclaimed, "Mama, when I'm grown, I will be like Hafseta who moved dunes. I will train until I am stronger than all of my friends, no matter how long I must toil, and then great glory can come to our house, and all will know my name." His mother smiled, for she knew her son had begun to understand strength and perseverance. Tirdas of the next week, Zakhin's joyful voice reached her ears even before the door opened. "Mama, when I am grown, I wish to be like the unbowed Memura. I will fight an army all alone to save my friends. I will never leave them to the mercy of the enemy, even if one calls me a name, such as when Samek called me Sandpants." She smiled again, proud that tales of loyalty and forgiveness made a home in his heart. One Midas hence, Zakhin returned home shouting once more, "Mama, do you know who I will be now? I will be like Raj Mahar of the 9 golden towers, and I will ride a sable horse with silver hooves to drive bandit lords from their caves and build a home for the poor from their spoils." So pleased was she to hear this admiration of honor and charity, that he was allowed 2 extra figs that eve. The following Tirdas, Zakhin flew back home, alight with new inspiration. "I will be like Frandar Hunding, and I will make my blades sing and lead a mighty army. No enemy will stand against my strategies, for I will consider all possibilities." Her pride blossomed the more, for all mothers pray their sons will aspire to leadership and careful contemplation. On Freitas, young Zakhin returned home from Jill's with a sparkle in his eye. He did not shout or profess a new hero, but came in from the heat and sat wordless upon his favorite cushion, looking at his mother the whole time. Well, she questioned, who will you be today? She hardly finished before he pounced to answer, I will be a new hero, and they will tell of my deeds to the little children during drills. Only then did she shed a tear.
Man, they got a lot of heroes there in those red guards. Plus, there's the one guy with the set bonus. All right, now there were a couple questions that were asked during the Answers Your Questions. I'm going to let you read the answer.
Okay.
I was reading the book Glinting Talons, but the numerous references to light and sun seemed out of place, given that what we know about Tava being the Yukudan version of Kinnereth. I was reminded of a discussion that mentioned a possible relationship between Meridia and Kine due to Meridia's position among the Aliads and their cultural identification with birds and feathers. I was wondering if the book Glinting Talons purposefully drew parallels between these deities, thus making Tiva the missing link, so to speak.
The unveiled Azadiyah says, be not misled, O Phil, by the confused misunderstandings of the Tamrielics, whose minds are clouded by blood and darkness. Tava, as spirit of the air and goddess of weather, has dominion over all elements of sun and storm, save only for the stars, which belong to Ruptka. May praises ever follow his name. Kine and Kinnereth are but her shadows, images seen dimly through the dust of Cyrodiil and the snow of Skyrim. Of course, it is praiseworthy for the Needlings and Nordlings to worship the gods in any manner, even if their understanding is faulty and misguided. We can but hope that they come to the true way before Satakal returns to take us all. As for Meridia, speak not the name of a demon in consanguinity with that of a god. She is an intruder from beyond Mundus, and no part of our world. Go, O Phil, contemplate your mistake, and step no more upon the path of error.
I believe that was a lore troll right there. Like, literally just got slapped down by lore. I like it. Oh, did you die?
I did.
Oh, all right, podcast listeners. You need to take a drink. We're going to do it right here.
Do it.
Open my drink here.
Had to find my water.
Okay, drink number 1. All right.
If I was on a Templar, y'all be drunk by now.
We'd all be drunk. All right. Well, the next question was asked. I've read somewhere that the Meomer ruler, King Orgrim, is said to be the serpent god of Satakal, what does this mean for Yukudan mythology and history? We know that the Merimir are obsessed with serpents, and Redguards are too. Maybe there's a link between the left-handed elves and the Merimir.
The unveiled Azadiyah says, it may be as you say, Morello Otryan, for your words waft the aroma of wisdom, but as their full truth, I am unable to aver it. We speak no more of the left-handed elves. May curses follow them into the 8 abysses, for to recall their abominations but darkens our days. And who can say how many each of us shall have before Tuwaka beckons us, save that they will be too few? As for the Merimir, whatever their burden of association with the sinistral Mer, they come not north of Stros Mackay, for our fearless sea warriors have taught them to keep well clear of the shores of Hammerfell. Orgnum, their so-called immortal monarch, will find he is not so deathless at the coming of the true Satakal. May it be long from today, inevitable though it is.
And the final question asked is, are there any other somewhat isolated Redguard communities like the... I have no idea how to pronounce that word.
Ashaba.
Okay. I also have another question. What is the official name of the nomads of Alkir? Are they just called the Alkir?
The unveiled Azadiah says, the Ashaba, though an unclean tribe of pariahs, nonetheless perform a function blessed by Tuwaka, and they have sibling tribes in southern Hammerfell as well. I've heard tale of wayward tribe of Redguards, far in the chilly north known only as the Horsemen, but this may be merely legend. Then, of course, there are the exiled Sun Eaters of Numeneth, That was strange. Numina, but to tell their tale is forbidden. Let's see, there is one more lore book here called Plea for Open Eyes by the Unveiled Azadea. Tall Papa, whose fingers brush the scattered stars, whose shadow stretches beyond horizons seen and unseen, whose authority commands the spirits of the last world and the next, have mercy on your children. It pains my soul to see my brothers and sisters clutched in the coils of the snake. They flee your blessed teachings, spitting on the face of shame they should feel and driving their rusted blades into the heart of our traditions. They have been fooled and tempted by the fat life of emperors, and here I lay bare the transgressions upon the old ways. O Ruptka, I pray they should realize the hideous visage of these sins and repent, eyes open and seeing. We know the truth, for it has been told. Honor your ancestors. He who permits their words and deeds to languish breaks his own blade and casts it to the burning wind. Yet in Sentinel, musical words and yoku do not echo through palace halls. The tales are of foreign heroes, spoken in harsh tongues. The words of our fathers' fathers cry out for sweet water, but the legends they once carried crumble to dust. If we do not tend to them, we know that a new ending time, worse again than those before, draws near. We know the truth, for it has been told. No pity or mercy shall be afforded the wretch who stands against the warrior wave. Yet our brothers and sisters meekly accept the pariah folk as equals and allies, polluting our honor with their mud-covered feet and staining our annals for all time. If it hurts one loyal songbird such as I to see this arrangement permitted, then hell must bring stinging tears to Tava's eyes, and inflame Diagna's very sword arm with the crimson rash of betrayal. We know the truth, for it has been told. Give your obedience to none save the gods of Yukuda. The far shores recede from he who leans upon thin-blooded shoulders, scornful of his feeble grasp. Yet a mild king of green lands commands our children. He sends them to die in his quest to claim the white gold. He will step upon their strong backs to ascend. His god's fingers reach into our heart, and Morwa shakes her head. Read this, O brothers and sisters. You have turned your left side to duty and closed your eyes to the searing sun. Your honor blackens as the memory of Yukuda now sunken fades. All is not yet lost. Take up the sword strengthened by our ancestors' ways, forged in the fires of righteousness and keen with true honor. Renounce these misguided new movements and return to your family, who will accept you despite your misdeeds. Return while you still may.
And that was the Loremaster's Archive, Zakhin's Many Heroes. Just let us know. I'm actually kind of curious whether or not people like this. We haven't been reading them or doing anything like that in the past, but today's news articles were short, so I figured now would be a nice time to see if people actually enjoyed listening to those here, or would you rather us just go back to skipping them and letting people read on their own. So feel free to comment on the site when this episode goes live and let us know what you've thought about that, and we'll decide whether or not we want to keep reading them that way. We may skip them, though, for weeks where we have lots of news, because it does take a few minutes to read through them. Okay, well, that ends the game news section, and we're going to move on to our Elder Scrolls discussion topic, aka the hosts. And actually, this was a suggestion from Deltia, because I was racking my brain a little bit about what we wanted to talk about, and he suggested that we revisit the PvP within ESO. So we're going to talk a little bit about the state of PvP in ESO as we see it now. With Update 3 coming up tomorrow, that are going to do a bunch of campaign changes. I believe Update 3 is when they're going to change all of this. And they're going to consolidate all the current campaigns down into a smaller group of campaigns, separating out the VRs from the non-VR characters, as well as having, I guess, 5-day campaigns and 2-week campaigns. I think they're doing away with all the 3-month campaigns now. So let's just do a little bit of... Deltia, why don't you talk to us a little bit about where you see the current state of PvP in ESO is?
Bad. basically, I'm a hardcore PvPer, but I like the small 8 to 4 man objective-based PvP, meaning capture the flag, holding a node, blah, blah, blah. That's what I love doing. Or just team deathmatch. Those two are fun. When it's horde versus horde and numbers matter, it doesn't become skill-based, in my opinion. So I don't like it. Right now, PvP is pretty much completely broken based on a few abilities. 1 being Necrotic Orb, 2 being Dragon Knights, 3 being Vampires. If you're not those things and using those things, you're going to die a lot. For instance, Necrotic Orb, if you have a whole team of 8 people use it and all synergize at the same time, there's nothing you can do to stop it. You will die. That's not fun. So these undaunted skills are hard to get, but they're game breaking. Class balance is absurd. It's nowhere near as balanced needs to be. Dragon Knights and Sorks are just way too powerful. They are. Nightblades can stunlock you, and then there's Templars
Templars are amazing, right?
Right, they're terrible. It's just. And I wish they would fix something with the travel. The travel system to me is just, I spend more time running around than I do anything else. And if you don't have Necrotic Orb, you're not a Dragon Knight, and you can't spam ultimates, PvP is no fun. The balancing it needs a lot of work. They need to take Undaunted out of it, and they need to make other ways to PvP. I mean, giving people one thing to do isn't usually the best way. And I'm not saying to build the game around me, because obviously I think the world revolves around me, blah, blah, blah. Not true. But at the same token, I saw the Imperial City stuff, and that really got me going, because it seemed like older games that I used to play, Warhammer Online, it was open world, and you went out of the gate, but guess what? 1 minute later, you're fighting someone. That's fun. I don't have to ride my horse for 10 minutes, I die, there's no forward camp, oh, now I gotta go back, no fun. So, give people some alternatives to do stuff, and maybe not make it about zerging, maybe make it about just like the small PvP stuff, 8-man, 8v8, and have some objectives. Objectives are awesome, because it's not just about who can DPS the most or whatever. You have to have stealthers watch nodes. You have to have other people do their job. It makes class balancing kind of a non-issue when you have to have a stealth do a certain thing. You have to have a tank be a tank. You don't just all use destruction staffs and go around nuking everything. Because that's really what people do. They stack up, use Necrotic Orb, and just nuke everything. That's not fun. So my rant for the day is, be a vampire, Dragon Knight, Dumner. You won't die and you'll kill everything. That's not fun. And that goes with another thing is the traits or racial perks. I wish there was a way to change your race. I really do. Especially if they change the passive bonuses. It's like some of them are just unbelievably powerful in comparison to the other ones. So I don't know. I think they should just take that out of the game. I know that's a huge Elder Scrolls thing, but it seems game-breaking to me to have a Dunmer that can resist fire damage and be a vampire and do way more damage than anyone else. So that's my rant for the day. And also one more thing is, if you haven't tried it yet, and besides the RP aspect, do vampire. If you read my guides or do whatever and see what I always talk about, I always rag on vampires. Well, I tried it, and wow, was it impressive. I tried it, and there's this grinding spot in Spellscar or Craghorn where you can level up abilities really fast, so I got all the passive perks to it, and it is just mind-blowing powerful. It is so much fun being a vampire. You can sneak fast as you would be running. You can do the best ultimate in the game. If everyone else is doing it, I had to try because I was seeing what was going on. And it is, if you're having trouble and dying, try being a vampire. You use Bat Swarm, you're not going to die. So that's my little rant for the day. One of them.
In other games, this was a popular thing, and I'm kind of curious, talking about class balances and ability balance. What was that symbol for?
Oh no, I'm just making funny faces because it's PvP and I don't really have much to say.
Other games actually put a limit on the amount of damage you could do from certain abilities, such as stacking buffs and things of those nature. how do you feel about, like, even with the necrotic orb, would this be too much of a nerf that once one is placed, any others maybe only extend its duration, not actually stack on top of it?
I think they need to take it out of there. If you use Necrotic Orb in PvE, it's great. Some of these abilities need to be removed from PvP, I think. Because if you make the duration, well, that's okay, but you're still getting unlimited magic. And that's kind of game-breaking, in my opinion, for a group. Because you're just segmenting one group. PvP is supposed to be all about PvP, meaning that outside abilities shouldn't affect your PvP performance. PvE abilities, gear, etc. should not affect your PvP performance, yet it does. Same thing PvE. Why should Cyrodiil passive bonus affect my raiding character? It does. Those are the things I don't like about it. So I chose Skullbreaker as my home campaign. Why? Because it's the Emperor bonus. I get tons of health, tons of magic, tons of armor. Those are the things that make PvP not fun, is that it's not all included. And then maybe they didn't want it like that. But for me, I don't care for that type of thing. I want no outside thing to affect it. So if you have to do PvE dungeons to get an ability, well, shouldn't that just be a PvE only thing? I think I'm trying to come back full circle, but does that make sense, where I'm going with that?
Yeah, it absolutely does. In some games, and this is a controversial thing, is they take abilities and they have two different versions, a PvP version and a PvE version. This is actually pretty controversial because some people don't like that at all, but I prefer to go that route than people nerfing my abilities for one or the other. If I'm PvPing with an ability, or PvEing rather, because that's what I do, I hated it when my abilities were nerfed because they were OP in player versus player. So my raiding ability that I'd be used for my PvE and raiding was then all of its damage was reduced because in player versus player it was so powerful. Now, other games such as Guild Wars 2, I know they were one of the first ones that I knew did this. They started offering the same abilities, but when you went in, they were changed. So something similar to, let's just say you had an ability that would have the ability to knock down, such as, let's just call Silver Bolts. Because with Undead and stuff, it was 100% knockdown, blah, 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 blah. They would change it, so when you went in, it would have a chance to maybe snare an undead or, like a vampire versus a 100% knockdown, which I think they actually do that. They have internal numbers hidden that it's not 100% knockdown chance if you're a vampire or a werewolf. Even if you took all the traits, it just has a percentage chance. So I don't know why they don't change something like that, like when used against other players. As for the Magicka, that seems to be a problem as it is anyway, with the whole equilibrium versus the necrotic orb. Why can't they have this problem with stamina builds? That's all I'm just going to say right now. Like, they just don't. They have nothing for stamina builds.
Not yet.
This infinite. Yeah, that's true. Not yet. Not until spell crafting.
Oh,
so,
well.
Oh, yeah, they're doing a reversal for stamina, which is why my build that I talked about on the site will probably move something off of there to get the stamina one. So, with the class buffs and stuff of that, like, we've kind of talked about that and how we want PvP to be. I'm in favor of splitting abilities. So you've been kind of quiet during all this. What do you think? Okay. What do you think about class balance and abilities? Do you think that they should limit the certain abilities from even going into PvP? Should they change them?
I feel like it should be how it was in Guild Wars 2, where you could have the same abilities, but when you went into the PvP zone, they changed for the PvP aspect. That PvP and PvE shouldn't have the same abilities, because they're two completely different aspects.
Yeah.
When you're going against the AI in PvE, they're not going to react the same. They're not going to think the same. They're not going to move the same. It's just how it is. But when you're going against people, the skills don't directly translate between the two. So they should have, it could be the same name, it could work pretty much the same, but it still needs to be different going from PvE to PvP.
All right, now I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here, just because I wanted to pose this question to both of you guys. Seeing as the only PvP that's available in the game currently is Cyrodiil, there's also PvE content within Cyrodiil. So if they were to change the abilities that when you went into Cyrodiil, your abilities became PvP, do you think this would adversely affect the PvE that's currently going on within Cyrodiil, the dungeons and stuff like that? I think it would.
No.
I don't think so.
Who does PvE in Cyrodiil? Why would you? What's the benefit? There's no top-end gear. It's faster to quest. Yeah, you do the dungeons, maybe get a one-time thing, but it comes back to incentives. What's the incentive to do PvP there? There's none. Or PvE, excuse me. So if there was actually incentive to do it, like they're talking about with the Imperial City, where there was like maybe a crafter station and only you can get to that, that's cool. But right now, there's not. So why even do it? Is there PvE there? There's nothing valuable to do.
I guess you could argue that, but I mean, with the Imperial City coming into the game, some of the best
achievements,
not even that, even some of the best gear within Dark Age of Camelot came from Darkness Falls, which was you could use for PvP or PvE. And there are going to be PvE encounters within like the sewers and within the Imperial Dungeon itself. And there's going to be the problem is, because it's a PvP dungeon, even if you switch the PvP abilities, you would be essentially gimping off your PvE ability to actually kill monsters, but still you couldn't even flip it over to normal PvP or PvE abilities, because people would actually be walking in there trying to gank you, and then you'd come up to the same situation you're having now.
I don't think it would negatively affect you to be using PvP abilities in the PvP zone in the PvE dungeon. Because even if they change, using these like letters together is like really making my brain think. Having your ability switch from PvE when going into PvP is a good thing going against the live players. If you're going into a PvE dungeon where there's a chance you'll run into PvP players, it's more beneficial to be able to take out the PvP players rather than the PvE monsters. Because if you're going as a group, even if your abilities are a little nerfed, your biggest concern is your PvP opponents, not what mobs are going to be in the dungeon. So I don't think it will really impact you all that much to have your skills switch to PvP, even if you're doing a PvE dungeon in that zone.
I'm not a fan of this, but how do you feel about, I know in Guild Wars 1, some abilities were outright not able to be used when you went into PvP.
I like that. I like that. Yep. Like Necrotic Orb. You shouldn't be... Necrotic Orb Undaunted points are earned for what? Why they should be removed from there. You should not have. You should not use them.
You could say the same thing with any of the abilities from the Alliance War support or
true. Exactly. Because guess what people are using to do speed trial runs? Retreating maneuvers. It boosts everyone's speed. That should be removed. And guess what? Guess what the best healing ultimate is? It's a barrier. It's not the Templars one. And so the best PvE ability for healers is a PvP ultimate. It's very hard to get.
See, I don't know if I agree with that one exactly.
Oh, barrier is by far the best.
Oh, the numbers are there.
No. That I agree with, but I don't necessarily agree with taking those skills away from PvE players.
I think if you're going to do this, if you're going to do something that like this, if you're going to remove abilities, you got to be fair across the board. That things that are earned, like you can't earn those abilities unless you participate in the Alliance War. So those abilities should be canceled out if you're outside of Cyrodiil. And same with the Undaunted, you only get that stuff from doing PvE dungeons. Those should be canceled out when you go into Cyrodiil.
See, I'm okay with taking skills away when you go into PvP, but I'm not okay with taking skills away from PvE players.
Well, you can't have it both ways.
Fair.
It's completely fair, though, because the playing field should be level when going against live players. It should be. There should be no one other person that's more OP than the next because they're playing the Flavor of the Month class and they're using the Flavor of the Month ability.
Vampires.
That's not fair. But when you're in PvE, everyone is equal because they all have the same opportunities to use all those skills. It's a completely different kind of field. So it's a different aspect that you're talking about now. Taking skills away in PvP? Oh yeah, all for it. Taking it away in PvE? Definitely not.
Well, with that being said, with PvE being competitive, especially with trials, what about people who have no interest, are just plain suck at PvP, and aren't willing to go into PvP to farm out that healing ultimate?
Exactly.
No different
That's exactly
than
right.
somebody who only wants to do PvP but doesn't want to have to grind PvE dungeons.
To get necrotic orb. That's exactly right.
That's a sacrifice you have to make.
Well, then
I did not agree with Guild Wars 2's philosophy, where as soon as you jump in, you can just do whatever you wanted. If you only wanted to PvP, you could just jump right in it and have all your gear. I don't agree with that. You should partake in all aspects of the game. I don't really enjoy PvP, but there's the rare occasions that I do. So you'll find me out in Cyrodiil, and I'll be able to do that part of the content. There's this gigantic world to explore with both aspects.
Yeah, but forcing players to actually do something they don't enjoy to be competitive will force players away.
Yeah.
You should never be forced to do something outside of what you want to play in order to be competitive. And that's what you're saying, is they have to do that.
Why would it be forcing them?
Because they don't like PvP.
But if they want to be competitive, they should be willing to do whatever it takes to be the best. Which means that if they're a PvP player, it should be no problem for them to play some PvE to get that OP skill.
But you're looking at it in a wrong way compared to what other players will do. You will not gain players by doing this. You will lose players. Absolutely lose players. Deltia, how would this, if you joined this game, if they had arenas, but the only way you could do arenas is if you were an emperor, how would you like that?
You're exactly right. I mean, for telling people what they have to do is terrible. I mean, the best. Now you may disagree. That's okay. The best ultimate in the game shouldn't be unlocked for doing PvP. Why? If I'm paying $15 a month, if I want to go pick up damn flowers all day, I'll do it. You're not going to tell me what to do. It's my $15. And so that's the same thing. If I'm on a trials team, you're telling me now I have to go spend 500 hours dinking around in Cyrodiil when I hate it? People are going to quit that game in a heartbeat and I'll go play another game. Same thing. The best PvE gear, I'll say this again, is PvP gear. 10% weapon crit, spell crit, staff, 2 necklaces. That's the type of crap that breaks PvP and PvE, and that's why I leave games. They have expertise or a specific stat for PvP. As soon as they do that, things get broken, everyone manipulates it, and the best thing in the game is the opposite of what you should get. PvE or PvP or PvW or whatever the hell it is. So my rant here is that I wish they'd separate the two, where one wouldn't affect the other. So if you wanted to do the Emperor thing, you shouldn't get Emperor passive bonuses in PvE once you're out of it. That's BS. I'm sorry. And I'm a PvPer. This is a PvPer's perspective. I mean, don't make it happen like that. No one wants that, except the person who gets Emperor that plays 18 hours a day. Sorry. Rant.
When you open up your character menu, and sometimes you have those little extra buffs, that comes from people playing in PvP, right?
That is correct.
Well, I'm showing it right here, yeah.
So, how do you both feel about those buffs being given to the PvE players?
Hate it.
I hate the current ones. In DOAC, they were different. They did not, like, if you own keeps, it was like an extra 5% gold drop. Stuff like that did not directly affect, like, if you want to be competitive in trials, you have to be part of a campaign where they have, like, all the scroll bonuses. Like, that will affect your time, and all that stuff. The Emperor bonuses and all that stuff affect your times. I liked it before when it was passive bonuses towards things like gold grind, experience, things of those natures that helped out your PvE players, but didn't give a direct advantage. And that's a problem. And I hate the current bonuses, because if you don't have them, you feel it. You do. Yeah. So that's
a good argument.
Now,
there's opinions either way, so it's fine.
Yeah, there is. And speaking about the PvP gear, you know how much of a rant there was. I guess this was early or late BC, early Wrath in World of Warcraft, when if you were playing a Death Knight tank, the best gear was the high-end arena gear for PvP. And if you wanted to tank, you had to have that. These people hated doing arenas. They absolutely hated doing the arenas in order to raid.
Yep.
And that Blizzard finally got so much hate for it, they changed it. Like, that will never happen again. Well,
every game has to go through this, and the good thing is the developers are listening to the community. So, you got to do what's best for the game as a whole, and they'll listen. Maybe me bitching about Cyrodiil every day isn't really what everyone else feels like, and I might just be complaining. So, the developers are listening, so I'm happy, and
Arcaneer said, I think, the greatest comment in chat, Emperor bonuses are good. Somebody else works hard and I get free bonuses?
Arguably, yeah. The final thing I wanted to talk about, with the Emperor buffs and whatnot, I'm a fan of Emperor buffs for people who are Emperor trading. They should only work in the campaign that you got them on and nowhere else. Period.
Yeah, makes sense.
But it's not how it works. There's been a popular trend right now, like people have been calling it, I've seen on the forums. People want a complete rollback of the Emperor. Like, up until everyone who's earned an Emperor up until now should be rolled back. Do you agree with this? Because of all the Emperor trading that's going on.
I do not. Because it's like saying that I don't, because there's some people who legitimately get it, and you can't screw over legitimate people for a couple of meatheads that got it. I just think take the passives out of PvE and then, you're fine. Or change the passive. They're just ridiculous powerful. The problem was that ZOS opened 1 million servers up at start, and what happened? They all died after 2 months. And then, 12 of your buddies got online, and you'd go clean out a thing and make your buddy the Emperor, and then your guys in the other faction would do the same thing. It's just players being players. They're going to take advantage of everything. Don't screw over other gamers who legitimately did the right thing. Don't screw them over.
Sure. That's why I'm still a fan of Emperor bonuses not working in PvE or in a campaign that if you guessed on a campaign and Emperor traded, it should only work in that guested campaign. So when you go back to your home campaign, you can keep the title, but you're not going to get the bonuses. They only work during the campaign that you won them in.
See, that's the one way that I like the PvP and PvE mingling. Because if you really aren't a PvP player, but a lot of people are working hard for your campaign, it's nice for those casual players who don't have a lot of time to have those little bonuses. But I don't think it's a bad thing.
I think it's a bad thing because people join only one campaign where they know their side's dominating. That's a problem. I think the buffs that we get need to be changed. I don't mind if they were gold buffs, but stat buffs are no. Like free, if you own all these keeps, you get an extra 10% experience. Fine. Or you own all these, you get an extra 10% gold drop.
That would be cool. Yeah.
1 gold isn't much.
Yep.
But
that's a great point.
That would be fine. Like beneficial bonuses and passives that aren't directly affect how well you perform in combat would be fine. My goodness, they could give me a durability reduction buff. Like, I lose 10% less damage when I die. That would be great.
I'm a little confused. I know these buffs exist, but I don't necessarily know what they do.
They are very powerful. You're looking at 200 plus more health at endgame. That's 5% of your overall health. So you're everyone on AD who's really powerful goes to Skullbreaker as their home because they get 5 buffs. If you look at my stats right now, my guy, it's not. Emperor Alliance, you get plus 5 health per character. So that's, I don't know, there's 100 health. You get armor, you get weapon damage, you get spell crit. All of those things you get buffed at all times versus someone who doesn't. So the Trials people have a campaign that they just sit on because there's such an enormous bonus. There's an enormous bonus.
See, then don't take it out of all of PvE. Remove it from competitive trials. Because that would level the playing field. Yes? No?
It is, if you remove it, that's one. I'm still not fond of that kind of bonus in any content.
Because if we're talking about going into PvP and having the abilities change, removing certain abilities, making it so that the playing field is level, then make it that way for PvE as well. When you go into, not all of PvE, when you go into trials, make it so that those buffs are no longer there. Everyone is the same. Everyone's abilities, stats are the same. They have to use their skills as a player. But if you're out questing in the field, you're not really affecting anybody else to have those buffs. You know what I mean? No.
Oh, I do agree. And the trials would be a great start right off the bat. Like, I think when you're in open world, it'd be fine. I think any dungeons or anything should be removed. Because here's the thing. If you have all those bonuses, Deltia, would it be a lie to say you're probably about 10-15% more powerful if you have every single one?
I would say 10% is a legitimate point.
10% more. That could mean the difference between you beating a dungeon and you not beating a dungeon. So you beating a dungeon with 10% bonus stats, if you just so happen to lose it, the next time you go in there, you wipe and go, what happened? Why? Well, it's because you suck and you needed that handicap in order to make it.
Well, then play better. The main problem is competitive play.
Well, no. The main problem generally is not just competitive play, it's play in general. When you say play better, how do you ever play better if you constantly have a handicap? That's what you're getting by parking in these places where you have all the buffs.
Well, then if you realize that you died because your buffs are gone, then you learn to do better.
Oh my God.
You're talking about the internet here. So
the internet.
Do another rant about the internet. Let's go ahead and move on. So, all right. Anyone have anything to say about the state of PvP and ESO yet?
No, we beat that dead horse. Yeah.
I just have to mention that Deltia is still my favorite meathead PvPer.
I'm converting.
Awesome.
Thank you.
He'd be my favorite too, but I didn't get a T-shirt.
Oh my God, I'm gonna make more.
I'm just saying.
Those are sick. Those are sick T-shirts.
We're a package deal here.
Oh my God.
Get a T-shirt. Retweet.
Oh my God. Oh.
We're gonna move off of that, and we're gonna move on to the next section because I made Deltia feel bad. The Tales of Tamriel section. First off, the guest tales for this week. I'm gonna have Deltia talk about a little bit about what he's been doing. But first off, I announced on Twitter earlier and asked people to tell us what they were up to. And Rode, our friend over at TESOcast, told us that he is on VR7 Madness. He's about 25% into the level now, prepping for the big content update tomorrow. Color changes and gear set changes to plan. Our friend Zomrox, reinstalling the game and patching it up to date after watching the QuakeCon panel. Little heart sign. That's right. So many people are coming back to the game after seeing the QuakeCon. It's awesome. Our friend Kilted Piper trying to get my Nightblade to VR so I can dungeon with the guild. Also trying to get the Vamp to level 6. Very slow at low levels. Well, he's working on it for you.
Yes, he is.
Indeed.
I should be able to get my Vampire Bite tonight.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yes, Kilted Piper has been working himself to the bone to get me that Vampire Bite. Oh, cool. Kypster made it in. All right. Well, Deltia, why don't you tell us a little bit about your characters, what you've been doing in ESO this week, and I specifically want to hear about that awesome Templar.
All right, here we go. Get ready for Rant. So what have I been doing? Just, I'm an altaholic, so I got to play around with different alts. Now, here's why. I like to do it. I'm a tank guy. I'm a tank. I like to charge in. They call me Rambo for a reason. I love to get attention and to smash people. That's my thing. But I also like to know, being a leader is all about knowing your players, what they do, how they operate, and what they should be doing. So if I know what a healer is supposed to be doing and a DPS and blah, 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 it makes me a better player. So I always try to experiment and see. Like I'm playing a Nightblade right now. I hate sneaky, but it's good for me to know. So I've been playing with my Dragonite as usual, and I got my Necrotic Orb finally. So that was really nice. once I got that, I realized, wow, no wonder people hate this in PvP, because you can literally nuke a VR boss if all 4 of you have it. You just, it's a synergy, you do it. So I got that, and then really there's nothing left for me to do on my character until this patch hits. So what I've been doing is leveling stuff. I did some grinding, and I have to say, a lot of people have found me from this show, I guess, and it's very nice. The community has been really awesome as far as just coming in Mumble and hanging out with my guild and asking questions and having fun. So it's been pretty awesome with that. So I have to say, there's too many shout-outs for that. Got Vampire, and then I was blown away. I got it, and the passives at first were terrible. Terrible. I didn't understand it. My buddy came in Mumble, and he goes, yeah, you gotta leave it at stage 4. I'm like, why in the hell would you leave it at stage 4? He goes, well, it drops your cost of your ultimate. I'm like, okay. So I got the ultimate. It's alright. It's no Dragonite standard. Well, once you get the morph that self-heals you, you literally cannot die. And you can literally pop that, sit still, and kill 5 to 6 mobs doing 1,000 DP.